The story begins with three carefree, adventure-hungry youths who are having fun riding jet skis in the middle of the ocean. Surrounded by deep blue water and an open sky, the three of them speed through the waves without a hint of fear. Initially, they find it exhilarating. However, before long, the excitement begins to fade. They feel that the real thrill will only come from doing something more dangerous, and without much thought, they turn their jet skis toward the deep sea. They venture into a place where there is no help and no other humans, just an endless expanse of water. After some time, right in the middle of the ocean, they spot a strange location. This place looks different from the normal sea. It is an **atoll lagoon***. These spots are usually calm but briefly connect to the ocean during high tide. As soon as they see it, excitement flashes across their faces. They believe they've found the perfect spot to have fun, completely unaware that this will prove to be their biggest mistake. Slowly, without a sound or a warning, danger surrounds them. Suddenly, their high-speed jet ski jolts violently after hitting something heavy from below, and before they can comprehend what is happening, the jet ski capsizes. Everything happens so fast that no one has a chance to stabilize. A phone slips from someone's hand, falling straight into the water and vanishing into the depths. Hearing the commotion, Anna panics and immediately gets up to see what happened. Looking around, she sees only one jet ski floating in the distance. Everything else becomes eerily silent. A few seconds later, the two people who fell into the water resurface, their breathing heavy and faces filled with visible terror. Julie, who is the most panicked, quickly climbs onto a floating pad. She frantically asks what just happened, but no one has an answer. Rigo, who is perhaps the most reckless, is only worried about his jet ski. Thinking it was just a minor collision, he jumps back into the water without a second thought to swim toward the jet ski. But as he moves forward, he slowly realizes something is horribly wrong. His fear becomes evident. He tries to swim back quickly, but it's too late. Just as he reaches the floating pad and tries to climb up, an unseen force drags him down with immense power. In a single second, it's over. The two girls on top can't understand what happened, but the next moment, the water in front of them turns a deep red. They can't see what's beneath them, but they know this is no ordinary accident. Alarm bells go off in Anna's head. She realizes that if they don't try to leave immediately, they will meet the same fate. She decides they must stay as far away from the water as possible. Just then, her eyes land on a protruding rock nearby, and thus begins their true fight for survival. Seeing the rock sparks a small glimmer of hope in Anna. She gestures to Julie that if they want to stay alive, they must reach that rock at any cost. They begin to move the floating pad in that direction with extreme caution. Every movement is calculated because they fear even a slight ripple could draw the unknown danger back to them. They move slowly across the water, holding their breath while their hearts pound. Silence is everywhere, but within that silence hides a terrifying presence. Suddenly, they both stop dead. Something massive is passing beneath them in total silence. As they peer down, their blood runs cold. Right beneath them swims a massive, approximately 9-meter-long killer whale, orca, It moves slowly, without rush, as if observing and understanding them. The blood on its body is clearly visible, and as it passes under them, blood splatters even reach the girls. Now, their faces don't just show fear, they show the realization of imminent death. Taking no more risks, they push the pad toward the rock with all their strength. This time they aren't going slowly, are moving as fast as humanly possible. They feel that if they can just reach that rock, they might survive. However, just as they reach the edge of the rock, their floating pad stops with a sudden jerk. Before they can react, the pad begins to be pulled backward. Both put in every ounce of strength, hitting the water with their hands to move forward, but it's no use. It feels as if something incredibly powerful is dragging them back. Slowly, they are pulled back to the exact spot where they started. Seconds later, the pulling force vanishes and the pad becomes still again. Anna tries to figure out how this happened. She looks at the back of the pad and sees a rope trailing behind. It doesn't take her long to realize the whale was holding that rope and pulling them back. This wasn't an accidental attack, the whale was intentionally playing with them. Anna immediately pulls the rope out of the water to prevent it from happening again. But another thought crosses her mind. She remembers that killer whales are highly intelligent, roughly as smart as a 15-year-old human, and the way it has been acting proves it isn't just hunting, it's playing a game. Then, Anna notices the whale's back and spots something strange. The dorsal fin is not straight, it is curved or bent. Anna realizes this isn't a normal wild whale. It has been in captivity for a long time. Whales kept in aquariums don't have enough space to swim freely. They swim in repetitive circles, which puts pressure on one side of the fin, eventually causing it to collapse. Furthermore, repeated jumping out of the water during shows affects their bodies. It's clear this whale once lived among humans. But the real question is, why has it become so dangerous now? In reality, this whale was recently released from an aquarium. Its health had deteriorated due to long-term captivity, and the aquarium owners feared it might die or cause an accident, so they released it back into the ocean. However, they hadn't considered how a whale captive for so many years would react in the open sea. These thoughts race through Anna's head, but she knows there's no time to dwell on them. The truth is, the whale sees them as enemies, and if they stay where they are, it will kill them one by one. Anna takes a deep breath, tries to calm herself, and looks at Julie. She explains that their only way out is to reach that rock. She constantly encourages her so that Julie doesn't make a fatal mistake out of fear. They wait for the right moment when the whale moves away from beneath them. Suddenly, Julie gathers her courage. Though terror is etched on her face, she makes a decision and, without a word, jumps straight into the water. Anna is shocked into stillness by fear, while Julie swims alone toward the rock. July's sudden jump fills the air with even more tension. Anna remains frozen, but Julie doesn't risk looking back. She swims toward the rock with all her might. During the struggle, items fall out of her bag and scatter in the water, but she doesn't care. Meanwhile, Anna notices something vital. Her hearing aid battery is floating away. She reaches out to grab it, but the whale appears in the distance, heading their way. Paralyzed by fear, Anna abandons the battery and climbs back onto the pad. This time, the whale doesn't attack Anna directly, its attention shifts to Julie, who is splashing through the water. Julie reaches the rock. Sensing the danger, she frantically tries to climb its jagged edges. The stones are sharp, tearing her skin, but the fear for her life makes her ignore the pain, and she manages to pull herself up. Anna sighs in relief, but is still trapped. She quickly grabs her bag and throws it toward Julie so the essential supplies reach her. However, in the haste, the rope attached to the floating pad falls into the water, a gyna detail neither of them notices. On the rock, Julie comes up with an idea. She picks up a stone and says she will distract the whale so Anna can have a chance to swim across. Despite her fear, Anna prepares herself. She gathers her courage, telling herself it's now or never. But as she readies herself to jump, she hears a strange dragging sound behind her. She remembers something and turns around in horror. She sees the rope in the water has gone taut, as if someone or something has grabbed it. The next moment, the floating pad begins to hiss, losing air and sinking. Anna is left with no choice. Stay and drown or jump and take her chances. Finally, she plunges into the water. She swims with every bit of strength she has. The terror is immense, but there's no going back. Every second, she expects the whale to grab her from below, but she doesn't stop. After an agonizing struggle, she finally reaches the rock. They both sit there for a Willix, ousted and terrified, but alive. Once they settle, they check their injuries. July's thigh is badly cut, likely from the sharp rocks while climbing. Anna immediately takes off her jacket and uses a stone to tear it into bandages. She ties half on July's wound and uses the rest for her own leg, which was also cut. They tend to their wounds and start thinking. Now, the situation becomes clearer to them. They guess the whale accidentally entered the lagoon during high tide and got trapped when the water receded. This place has become a cage for the whale, much like the aquarium was. That is why it has become so aggressive. It views anyone entering this cage as an enemy. This realization brings a cloud of despair. They have no jet ski, no way out, and no help. Their only hope is that someone passes by and sees them. Anna checks the bag, but only a piece of chewing gum and a small box are left. Everything else was lost in the water. They share the gum, their only meal for the day. Meanwhile, Julie finds a plastic bag and gets an idea. She blows air into it and seals it, hoping the heat from the sun will create condensation inside, providing them with a few drops of water. It's a tiny amount, but it could save their lives. Anna calls her a genius, but Julie notes they have to wait 8-10 hours. With nothing left to do, they huddle together on the rock, trying to conserve energy while they wait. Time passes and evening falls. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a ship in the distance. They jump up and scream for help with all their might. But the ship is too far away, their voices don't reach it, and they watch helplessly as it disappears into the horizon. With the ship gone, their last shred of hope begins to fade. Anna and Julie sit in silence, exhausted, disappointed, and broken. But then, Anna spots something in the water. She looks closely and realizes it is a human hand floating toward them with the waves. It's a gruesome sight that leaves them stunned. But then they see a flashlight strapped to that hand. Despite the horror, that flashlight could be their salvation. They gather their courage and slowly reach the edge of the rock. Feeling nauseous, they manage to retrieve the flashlight from the hand. Now they have a way to signal if anyone passes by at night. The night drags on, but no one comes. Fatigue, fear, and hunger begin to break them. Just as they are about to give up, they remember the plastic bag. They see tiny droplets of water have collected inside. They carefully drink the drops, giving their parched throats slight relief. But it's so little that it barely touches their thirst. Anna remembers seeing some shellfish, mussels, yesterday that might be edible. She decides to take a massive risk. She slowly lowers herself into the water, terrified the whale will return. She quickly grabs some mussels and climbs back onto the rock, bumping her forehead on a stone in the process. Now, the problem is opening them without tools. Anna thinks for a moment and reluctantly pulls out the small box. When Julie sees it, she tries to stop her because it isn't an ordinary box. It contains the ashes of Anna's ex-boyfriend. Here, a painful truth about Anna's life is revealed. Anna was once a talented cello player. But one night, while working a part-time job, she was a victim of a robbery. During the incident, her hearing was damaged, and her boyfriend, who was trying to save her, was shot and killed. One purpose of this trip was to scatter his ashes in the ocean to set him free. But in this moment, survival is more important than sentiment. Together, they use the lid of the box to crack the shells and eat the raw meat. The taste is foul and stinking, but it's necessary to stay alive. Since the box is already being used, Anna decides to scatter the ashes right there. She releases them into the water and watches in silence. But then, a secret buried deep within Julie comes out. She can't take the guilt anymore and confesses. She reveals that the robbery years ago wasn't a coincidence, it was her plan. Anna is shattered. Julie explains that she desperately needed money at the time and found out the restaurant where Anna worked held a lot of cash at night. She told someone she knew to rob it. But that night, Anna had swapped shifts and was there herself, leading to the tragedy that ruined Anna's life and killed her boyfriend. Hearing this, Anna is completely broken. She wants no explanation or apology. She moves away from Julie, even removing her hearing aid, as if severing all ties. But the reality is, they are still stuck on the same rock, and their condition is worsening. Julie realizes that if she doesn't take a drastic step, they will both die. She makes a dangerous decision. She will distract the whale to give Anna a chance. Her plan is to swim toward the shore where they first entered the lagoon, giving Anna time to jump and reach another rock closer to safety. It is an attempt to save Anna at the cost of her own life. Without a word, Julie slips into the water. Everything seems calm on the surface, but a horrific game has begun underneath. Julie knows the whale is nearby, waiting for the right moment. On the other side, Anna, having removed her hearing aid, is oblivious to the danger. She doesn't even realize when Julie left the rock. When Anna turns and finds Julie gone, she panics and screams for her to come back, but it's too late. Suddenly, a terrifying sound echoes through the water, a sound that strikes fear into the heart. Julie knows the whale has spotted her. She swims with all her might, every stroke a desperate hope for life. Within moments, the massive whale appears and chases Julie. Anna sees this and realizes Julie is doing this for her. Anna doesn't hesitate. She jumps into the water and swims in the opposite direction. But something strange happens. The whale chasing Julie suddenly stops. Sensing Anna's movement, it immediately changes course and heads toward Anna. Anna is now in direct danger. Panicking, she swims toward a small nearby rock and narrowly manages to climb up. Her heart is racing so fast, it feels like it will burst. Meanwhile, Julie, still fighting for her life, finally reaches the shallow water near the shore. For a moment, it feels like she made it. Luck seems to turn as a helicopter appears in the sky. Hope flares up. Julie screams, waves her hands, and even writes SOS in large letters in the sand. Anna also signals from afar. But the helicopter notices nothing and slowly flies away. This moment is devastating. July's patience snaps. She screams at the sky in rage and pain, cursing her luck. In her anger and despair, she makes a fatal mistake. She doesn't realize she is still standing too close to the danger. Suddenly, a massive jolt hits from below. Julie tries to grab the ground, digging her nails into the sand to prevent being dragged into the water. For a few seconds, it looks like she might survive. But the next moment, the whale clamps its jaws onto her leg and pulls with immense force. Her leg is torn apart. With such a horrific injury, Julie cannot survive long and bleeds out shortly after. Anna watches from a distance, completely shattered. She is now entirely Alanino friends, no help, just the fear of death. The rock she is on is closer to the shore but very small. She can barely balance herself and is too terrified to move. And then, as if things weren't bad enough, the sky begins to change. Dark clouds gather, lightning strikes, and a storm approaches. This is even more dangerous for Anna because her hearing aid is dead. She can hear nothing. This sudden silence amplifies her terror. She can't tell when or from where the danger will come. Terrified, she turns on the flashlight for comfort, but it soon dies too. It truly feels like the world has abandoned her. But then, the heavy rain begins,